Hi, Kate. I got your email right here, and I'm going to just show you a few things. And I'm going to actually try to solve kind of like the concept of the negative space in front of you. Okay, so I have all the files here that I have downloaded that include this is your Illustrator file. So I'm going to use that interior space and do the best I can to just give you an insight. The very first thing I want to show you is this. So let me bring this over. Let me hit the F button, get rid of this so I can get rid of this, and then we can just zoom in to different ones. Okay. All of these have the outside t-shirt color, right? Well, some of them include shapes, like this animal that's here. Or look at how this could be Stitch. So this could be Stitch's outline. And then the artwork inside could be black and white with that background that you have. And I'll just do a really quick version of it. But all of these, look at how the keyhole, the outside keyhole is the t-shirt color, and the negative space are the things that are inside that are dark, especially this one. You can see that's all dark on the inside. You can see that instead of trying to draw that character, they just did it as negative space with the t-shirt color, which is black, coming out. So let's do the same concept that I am showing here, like this woman's face. This is Ren from Star Wars, right? But she, there's only a few little details like her hair that give her the look of it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to open up your file, and then I went and found a Stitch JPEG. Okay, now this is my Stitch that I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn it into an outline. Okay, there's so many ways, and if you know Photoshop at all, I'm going to just open this up in Photoshop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring over the layer palette. So if you went and found a Stitch outline, a head or something, and it was just a JPEG with a white background, watch what you can do. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer. Just click the button down here to create a new layer. I'm going to click back to this layer, which I'm turning off and on, right? So I'm on that layer. I'm going to hit the W key for the magic wand. So the magic wand is the W key, and I'm going to click the background. Now I have the background, but I want Stitch. So the outline for Stitch. So you know how to turn stuff into a selection just by Command or Control clicking by using the magic wand, and I have the tolerance at 12 and I have contiguous on, which means that it won't try to find any white inside the object. I don't want to explain everything, but that's how I got the background. Now I'm going to go to select and inverse to actually get the Stitch outline. Now I'm going to turn this off and click to this upper layer, and I'm going to fill it with the foreground color, which is black. Okay, so I'm just going to go to Edit, Fill. I can hit the quick key, but I'm going to go to the foreground color, and you can see how I now have the Stitch outline. Now I'm going to save this as a JPEG so I can bring it into Illustrator and turn this into a selection. There's so many ways that I can bring this into a selection into Illustrator, meaning a path. Okay, I'll show you the easiest way. But what I would do normally is save this as a JPEG, place it in Illustrator, and use Image Trace to grab the outline. But there's an easier way. So I'm going to turn off this Stitch. Can you see that there is an outline of this here, of Stitch? So now what I want to do is see why I have dark. Okay, goodness gracious. All right. For some reason, this turned into a little bit of black on the edges. Oh, this is getting a little bit too, all I wanted was this outline of Stitch. So what I'm going to do is hit the C key, and I'm going to crop this. C is for crop. Okay, I'm going to hold Alt-Option and Shift, and I'm going to crop this a little bit inside. Now I'm going to make a selection of Stitch. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Now, I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to show you that if I go to the path, I have to find it. If I go to the path palette, which is on my screen somewhere, let me see where my path palette is. Right there. So I'm going to go to path. Now I'm going to go to make a work path of this selection. Now I've made a work path right there, and you can see how I have it. Okay. Now I'm going to hit Command or Control C. That's all I'm going to do is hit Command or Control C. I won't even shut it off, but I have a path now that I've made in Photoshop, and I'm going to click to your Illustrator file and turn off all the layers. So now I have your Illustrator file. Let me click on it and hit the Tab key. Now, I don't need half of these things, although I want to keep them on the screen. I even want image trace. I don't need the appearance menu. Just bear with me while I get this all ready. So this movie may take a bit, but I want you to understand that I'm going to use the stitch outline as the beginning of my file. So I'm going to turn off everything that you have here, and I'm going to click on layer 7, which has nothing on it. Now, in order to paste from Photoshop to Illustrator, you have to go do something for me. Okay, so if you know Photoshop and you've made a path in Photoshop, I'll remind you, I was in Photoshop and I had a selection of this. I just Command or Control clicked on the image right there. Okay, I'll click away from it. So I'll do it again. I'll show you that. Let me move this over. I'll click this. All right, and I will make a selection of stitch. I just Command or Control clicked right on this. Now I can turn it off. I went to the path palette and I made a work path by going up to here. Okay, and I just let it be this tolerance right there, and I clicked OK. Now that made me this path, which I'm going to select. Okay, so I'm going to go to that work path, and I'm going to hit the P key, and I'm going to select the whole work path by just going to the arrow key here and marking the whole thing like this. Command or Control C. Okay, back into Illustrator. Now I'm going to hit Command. I told you there's something you have to do. I need you to go into Settings down to Clipboard Handling. Now I'm going to turn on right here. It actually comes in like this, okay, which is AICB, stands for Adobe Illustrator Clipboard. Okay, this was all to get Stitch's outline. I'm going to turn it on and click Preserve Paths. That's what you have to do. Now I'm going to hit Command or Control V, and I'm going to paste it as a compound shape. Now I'm going to hit the E key, and I'm going to just turn it over like this. Now I'm going to fill that with black. Okay, I'm actually going to use that shape in an opposite manner. Okay, so what the very first thing, I'm going to use it probably as a clipping mask in a few minutes. This shape right there. So now layer 1, let me just call this stitch outline, and let me figure out my way through this. I'm going to put a new layer right underneath, and I'm going to call it T-shirt. Now, whoops, I didn't do that. T-shirt, sorry. Okay, I'm going to save your file so I don't lose it. Now I'm going to fill a background with M key rectangle and make it the same blue that you had in that background. I actually saved that blue right here. I thought I did anyway. Let me see if I did. Okay, I haven't saved it yet because I started over. So I'm going to bring off your illustration right there, and I'm going to bring off Lilo, the background rectangle. So I need the background rectangle to show like this. Okay, now I want that blue, so I have to bring over the gradient palette wherever I put it. It's right there. So I'm going to click on your background by unlocking it and selecting it. Now, do you see here that there's the blue right there? All I have to do is select that blue in the gradient palette and then pick it up from the color palette and put it up here. Okay, now I can get rid of the gradient palette for now, get rid of the color palette for now, and leave this right there. Now I can turn it off. I can click the t-shirt layer, and inside the t-shirt layer I need to make a rectangle. So I'm going to click up to the t-shirt layer, hit the M key, and make a rectangle a little bit bigger than my illustration. Now I'm just going to click that fill and make it a blue. There. Now I'm going to lock it. Now it doesn't have to be blue. It can be any t-shirt color you want. But let me make this somewhat something so I can just get it out of the way. Okay, I'll put it up there. All right. Now I click on Stitch. For now, I'm going to take Stitch and I'm going to click on that path, that compound path, and I'm going to fill it with white. Just with white. Okay. So there is the beginning of the stitch of the t-shirt color. Okay, now I probably should make that blue a little bit darker, but let's just go with what I have here. Okay, so I'm going to save the file again. Now I'm going to turn off everything that I've done here because I want to go down and grab your background here. Okay, now I probably should make it a little taller or make Stitch a little smaller. I made a little rhyme there. Just to fit this whole section that you have drawn. See, that's all that you have drawn right there. I actually want to put it up on top above the t-shirt. So I'm going to, oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to close the stitch thing. I want to bring off the t-shirt right there. Let me pick up this whole layer and put it between them. Okay, now I'm going to turn it off for a second. I'm going to click the stitch outline and I'm going to make the stitch outline be smaller. So I don't need that rectangle. I don't need the rectangle. I don't know why the rectangle was there. I think I made it first and I didn't use it for the background. So now I'm going to take this compound path and I'm going to hit the E key and I'm going to show your pretty background. Now I'm going to make this smaller, just somewhat smaller like this. And I'm going to make sure it's inside, just like that. Okay, a little bit smaller. Okay, now I'm going to use this compound path as a clipping mask for your object. I don't know how good this is going to look because the umbrella should probably be smaller and I'm not going to be able to get a whole lot in there. Let me rethink it and make the stitch be bigger. And then I may make your background be smaller. So I'm going to select your whole background and make it be smaller inside Stitch. Maybe I'll even put it up on his face like this. There, that'll work. And then I can figure out something else to do with the background. So let me go in. You have all this there. Okay. What I need to do is to copy the compound path. So I'm going to pick it up and copy it. I'm now going to put it, I'm going to group this right here. I'm going to group everything there. The outside lens didn't come because I had it locked. It's my fault. So I'm going to go click, click, and click, and I'm going to group those. Okay, now I'm going to put one of the compound paths directly above it. Okay, now I'll turn off the upper compound path, click the compound path right here, and shift click your pretty background, and hit Command or Control 7, or go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. Now I have your pretty background in there where we can put in Stitch. Okay, now I could choose to do a little bit of something, not sure exactly what I want to do there, but I could choose to make the sky bigger or the sand bigger and just make it encompass the whole stitch thing, meaning the whole stitch outline. Let's see if that looks terrible. Okay, so let's just see. Okay, so I'm going to open up the clip group. I'm going to open up your group. And I'm going to change a couple of these sizes here. So you have this big circle here for the blue. Well, you know what? Let's just make it bigger, like this. Okay, so now I have your blue background all the way through stitch. But let's now click the brown. Let's take the brown and just make it longer and fatter, just so it encompasses all of the lower half of stitch. So now let me just go like this. I'm going to take the P key. I'm going to go to the direct selection tool, and I'm just going to alter this so that I have more stitch, more of the brown in the sand in here. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. That really does look good. But let me fix the umbrella. So now the umbrella I could pick up and put over here. Let's click on the stand, which I could just pick up and put down here. So now this is the real beginning. I'm sorry this took so long, but it takes a bit to think of this. So stitch is my outline, but now let's use your stitches. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to move Lilo and Stitch. I was thinking, that's why I was quiet for a second. I'm going to take these stitches and figure out how to get them into your background. Now, you dimmed this, so I'm going to undim it so I can have them here. Now, what I should do, yes, to answer your question, you should actually draw these characters out. Okay, but I'm going to use a couple of cheating techniques. If it doesn't work, I'll figure out something else. I'm going to shrink them. So I'm going to take this and shrink them inside. Now, what I want to do here is I can go like this and make them slightly bigger. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. But that actually looks pretty good. I could actually take that Lilo and Stitch piece that I'm turning off and on, and I could put it inside the clipping path. Okay, watch how I do that. Here's the clip group. Here's the compound path that I'm using as the big clipping mask. If I pick up Lilo and Stitch, I can put them on top of, wait a minute, let me figure out what I'm doing here. Let me go inside Lilo and Stitch JPEG. I want to put that inside and underneath the umbrella. I want to go behind the stand like this. And now I have them inside. I'll click on them right now. And I'll move them up and put them in a kind of a fun place right there. That actually works nicely. And now I'm going to pick up the umbrella and the stand, and I'm going to move it somewhere like this. That actually works very well. And it needs to be below. So Lilo and Stitch need to be above. Well, not really. That's totally up to you. If I take the umbrella stand, the actual stand, and you have something on it, you have an opacity on it, which I have to figure out how you did that. So it's a gradient. I'm just going to take, I'm going to zoom in. I just want the stand to be a little darker and longer. So let's go to, let's just take that. Let's flip it like this, and then you can make it any color you want. But that is the beginning right there of exactly what I'm talking about, that we used Lilo's Stitch's outline as the framing device for the negative space. Now, we need to make a few of these things here and you can have other elements in there, and I want to show you right now how to maybe, even though this is a JPEG here, and I'm thinking out loud on how I do this. Because I know you've clipped these and there's a whole background behind them. So the only thing I can think of doing here is just to get them into an outline form. Let me see if I can do this, and maybe it'll kind of help you understand the thinking process behind this. I'm just shooting from the hip here. So I'm going to turn off Lilo and Stitch. I'm going to, for right now, turn off the big background. I'm going to turn off the picture. I'm going to turn off the umbrella like this. And what I want to do is take these characters right here and make them into a JPEG. Bring it into Photoshop and do the same thing I did before. Okay, I don't know how it's going to look. Let's just see how it's going to look. So in Illustrator, let's go to Edit. File, Export, Export As. Let me go to JPEG. And let me just say pick, just so I have it. And it's going to the desktop. So let's use the artboard and hit export. And let's see what I get. Okay, now I'm going to go to my artboard. Let me close this for right now and save it. Got to save it as something. Okay. All right. So let me find where that pick went. It's right there. There it is right there. Let's open that up in Photoshop. Let me crop into that or make the image actually bigger. So I'll double click it in Photoshop. Okay. I'm going to crop this down like this. And I'm going to make the element inside bigger. So let's go like this and just make them bigger inside. Okay. Now, what I want to do is zoom in. I want to select with the W key the white background. Okay, that's good. And I want to inverse it. So let's go to Select Inverse. Now, let's do the same thing we did before. I could, if I wanted to, just undo this. Go to the Path Palette. Make a work path to 1.0 device pixels. Okay, a tolerance. Now I have a work path. I could save the file. I don't really need to. I just want this outline. So I'm going to hit Command or Control C. Let's go back into Illustrator. I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm trying to get you to do a little bit of negative space inside. So let us turn on the background, turn this on, turn this on, turn on the blue background that I had before. Now I'm going to make a new layer up here, and I'm going to now paste my path onto here. So I'm just going to hit Command or Control V, and I'm going to paste it as a compound shape. Now I'm going to put that, hit the E key, and put it over here, and I'm just going to fill it with the blue. So let's go here, bring over the blue. It may look horrible, but now I have at least those characters that look kind of fun there. Now what I could have done, or what I can do, is take this and put them inside. I'm just going to just size them down. Whoops. Where'd they go? Okay, I got to click on them again. Sorry. I have to hit the V key, hold Alt or Option and Shift, and just size them down to fit. Like this. And I'll put them right over their normal character. Like that. Okay, I'm just trying to think my way through this. And I'll bring back that other JPEG just to show you my thoughts. All right. That whole compound path right there, that whole thing needs to now, let me turn it off for a second. Let's turn off the Lilo and Stitch that we had before. Let's take this compound path and put it just above there and now turn it on. Now I have Lilo and Stitch kind of in a negative form with the umbrella kind of having some fun. Now, not sure exactly what else I want to do. Maybe, I mean, this is not, I don't have time to really get a whole other set of characters that have to do with Lilo and Stitch, but what if we take that upper illustration of Lilo and Stitch, I'll hit the E key, I'll move it down, and now I'll make it slightly bigger, and maybe that's part of the element down here, especially if I make it slightly bigger. So we kind of have a fun thing going on down here. That is a reasonable, it's not perfect, but I just wanted you to see how I get through the thinking process. And now imagine this is the t-shirt color, and we have a Lilo and Stitch kind of fun little atmospheric thing. That should give you a couple ideas. Now let me save this. Let's minimize it. Let's minimize this. Let's bring this back up again. Let me hit the tab key and the F button so I can get close to this. Now, that's what I tried to do here. I needed other elements. This person used a background color that they clipped with that figure, and then they just drew out the hair and used a sun for the eyes, okay? That we may be able to go into and find out, do a Stitch illustration where the eyes here could, or the ear color could actually work, or the eyes of Stitch could actually come out and be on top of this. So that's what you need to think about. I used a Stitch character, just like this character is the outline, but you don't really see any of the details of the character. Here you do. Here, this is just a real pretty framed background that they brought a circle and oval in, and then they used the trees and the characters and they made them all dark. The only thing in color is the background. Everything else is, and that's very pretty. Okay, and that's what I tried to do here. In fact, let's go to here and just experiment with something. Maybe it's the blue. Let's take this blue, I'm going to unlock it and make it black. Maybe it's off of a black t-shirt. So let's go like that. Now let's take these characters that I had in blue and make them black. And now look at how we have kind of a fun thing going on with that. In fact, that even looks better than it did before. So that's what I wanted to show you. Just to give you an idea of the whole negative positive space. Takes a lot more than just half an hour or 45 minutes in a movie. But you could do other things inside of here. I love your umbrella. I like the sky. I like the clouds. That all works. Maybe this brown needs to be a little bit of a... Let me find that brown. It's right there. And let's do a gradient inside that brown. So that brown shape, which I didn't need to have it be so big, let's just do a gradient of it. So let me bring over, not the color palette, let's bring over the gradient and do a, let me bring over this so I can just click and use these browns that are up here. I just wanted to show you a little bit of a kind of a fun thing. Let's just click on this fill. Now, I'm going to make that be the brown here, okay, and the darker brown. Now, let's have it be a G key and go down in value. So the darker brown is on the bottom. Okay, now that's kind of neat. That actually helps the whole feel of this. I probably have a little bit too much going on, and I should just quit this, but I just wanted you to see how to do maybe a little gradient inside. Maybe the sky can be a gradient, but that's the process, okay? And I am glad I showed you about Photoshop and how to quickly make a path that could be the outline of the character and then bring it back into Illustrator, making sure you have the preferences of settings and clipboard checked for preserving paths. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if it did or didn't.